Hello, my name is Dean Contover. This is the Current Buzz. Today we have Captain Timothy Ross. He's from the Greater Lowell.
Greater Lowell
Salvation Army. I just want to make sure. I just don't want to say Lowell. I want to say Greater Lowell. Salvation Army, you know, the Red Kettles. Everyone knows the Red Kettles, and we're going to talk about that. And I want you to be nice to the people ringing the bell at the kettles. And we're going to talk about the history of the Salvation Army. A lot of people don't know that it's a Christian entity, and it's basically a church. Am I correct, Tim?
It is. Yeah. It's a church plus a social service organization, plus we have the thrift stores and adult rehabilitation center. So, yeah, there's a big gamut of the Salvation Army.
Yeah, and you're out there all the time in tornadoes and hurricanes.
That's right, yes. Yeah, with disaster work as well, yes.
Yeah, and that's real important. You don't see it too much up here.
That's right.
But you do see it on television. There's always a truck there that shows up to help people. I was looking up the information on the Salvation Army, and it was founded in 1865 in London. You could.
Yeah, 1865. A man by the name of William Booth and his wife Catherine Booth were itinerant preachers over there in London, England. Saw a huge need of the poverty of London, the poor of London, not being taken care of or being maybe pushed off to the side, and so they wanted to do something, and they wanted to get involved, and so that's what they did. They went out and preached to the masses, and eventually weren't looking to start a Salvation Army or a church or any organization, but it just happened to be that others weren't willing to step forward, and so they did.
You know what I like about it is that they went out there to preach.
Yep.
And I think a lot more churches should do that. They go out in the masses and start preaching rather than sitting back and expecting people to come to them.
Yeah.
And I like that premise. And I think it's very important that we have somebody like you guys going out there. And it wasn't really nice in London in those days.
No, it wasn't. They would there'd be bricks thrown at them and all kinds of things. But they were out meeting the human needs, which we're still doing today, meeting the practical needs of the day, of what people need.
So he was not only preaching, but he was feeding them.
Doing that, and doing the day-to-day activities of helping people who are in need. And that started then there and then spread. I know in the United States we've been over 140 years here in the States, and then you think about around the world, there's 131 countries around the world the Salvation Army.
Yeah, I forgot what the number was. There was 1.5 million members.
Yes.
Just that alone.
Just that alone,
is a lot of people. How did you get involved? I mean,
sure. Actually, my parents went to the Salvation Army as their church, and so I almost kind of grew up in that church. And then later on, received what I felt was God's calling upon my life to go to give back to others and to help others. And so, my wife, I actually met at the Salvation Army in Lynn, Massachusetts. And so later on, got married, and then we went to a training school the Salvation has, and out in New York. And then after that 2-year training program, we were commissioned as Salvation Army officers and then sent to run the Salvation Army of Plymouth for 4 years. And then we ran the Salvation Army in Quincy for 6 years. And then we've been here for about a year and a half.
When you went to school, did you both go to school, and where in New York was it?
Yep, we both went to school, so we're both ordained ministers. Okay. We both run the Salvation Army. That's the great thing about the Salvation Army. If you want to work together, you can. We kind of worked well together. We both fit in each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we work very well together and able to do the work together. So
you have children?
We have 4 children.
Okay, name them.
Sure, Cheyenne, Cadence, Naomi, and Adeline.
Great.
So they've gotten adjusted well to the Lowell and to the Lowell school system. And
good.
It's good now that we're in our second year to try to really now get acclimated and get right into
So
the
when
work.
you get assigned to Lowell, what happens? Is there a house that Salvation Army owns and title, etc.?
Right, the Salvation Army owns like parsonages, and that's
is that
where,
what they call them?
That's what we call them. They call them quarters, kind of a military kind of style term, which Salvation Army, some adopted that. Right. But it's a parsonage, that's what I call it, and that allows us to be moved whenever they ask us to move. And so that is part of the part of the
Good and bad.
Good and bad,
Bad,
yes.
yeah.
And so they tell us when. And so they, in order to be able to do that, they have to have the various parsonages. And it belongs to the Salvation Army of Lowell, and they take care of that, and those kind of things all kind of run together. So they're able to move us all over the east region of the country.
And that was more or less the East Coast?
East
more or
Coast,
less,
yeah. Very much, yes.
And but the problem is they haven't moved you. You just stayed in Massachusetts.
Yes,
From what you were
I
telling
grew
me.
up in Massachusetts, and I've stayed in Massachusetts. Usually you do leave the state.
Yeah.
But we have been fortunate, and I know it is a strength. When we came into Lowell, we know the kind of the culture. We grew up on the North Shore, so we've been in part of Massachusetts. So for us, getting started was much quicker than others who had to acclimate to the community and those kinds of things.
Any negatives in regards to Salvation Army? Any positives in regards to your eyes?
To moving.
Well, to moving or being in the Salvation Army.
I think the hard part is, you build relationships with the community, you build relationships, and then eventually you have to say goodbye to those relationships and then start all over again. So that is a learning curve, and so
Right.
it has its benefits, and it has its negatives drawbacks.
How would you say Greater Lowell was to the Salvation Army?
I think Greater Lowell is very good to the Salvation Army, and a lot of my predecessors have done a lot of great work, and it's very easy to come in as a new person and to take on the baton and to pick up right where they left off. So the support is by far one of the best that I've seen in
Oh, no kidding, yeah?
Yes,
Is that right?
Yes.
All right. I know they had a breakfast recently. And,
did.
How many people showed up for the breakfast?
We had about 325, 330 people show up. Salvation Army had our honorary, it's really our official Christmas kickoff of the
Right.
season. And we were able to honor Mike Hunzler of Four Oaks Country
Right.
Club. And what a great man, great man to charities. Various charities raised over $5 million for various charities in the Greater Lowell area. And so he kind of helps us kick off the season. And they had 3 roasters there to roast them. And great time.
Is
had
he on
by
your
all.
board?
He's not on our board. Just someone in the community that supports the Salvation Army. Big supporter of our radiothon coming up in December
Right.
and WCAP. But he's been a very great guy.
Okay.
Great supporter.
So what happens in this? Do they pay for the tables, or they pay for
We have
admissions?
sponsors. Yep, we have sponsors
Okay.
that do, and then people can come in and pay for their own ticket if they'd like
Right,
to as well.
right.
So you have businesses, you have other people too in the community that come.
That goes directly to Salvation Army.
Stays right here in the Greater Lower area, goes right
Oh, it
back
does?
out. Yep, stays right here in the
Okay.
Greater Lower area and goes right back out for the Christmas funds, Thanksgiving baskets. We do get a lot donated, I think, of various families. Let me just make sure I say his name right. The Manolis Family Foundation does a huge donation of Thanksgiving baskets, but the money raised there goes right back out to the community.
Okay. When you talk about raising the money, and I know you're going to have the auction on WCAP,
Yep.
a local station that we should all support.
Yes.
And they support you.
Right.
And that's an all-day affair, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
it's in December. It's 6 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay.
So we try to raise $200,000 in those 8 hours. So it's a monumental task, but people who have spearheaded that, like Warren Shaw and the late
Warren.
Fred Simon, who was a
Right,
huge
I know,
supporter,
I
and
know.
Fred really got that up to that level of 200,000.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad. But it takes a lot of people, and it takes a whole community to do it together.
no doubt about it.
And some of the things happen by some people do give the funds, but other people give like in-kind donations, such as McCarthy Middle School right here in Chelmsford. 44 years they have had a food drive for the Salvation Army, and they just delivered all the food, thousands of canned goods yesterday to be sorted this week and to be packed into food baskets. So it really does take the community working together to
That's
help
good to
those
know
in need.
McCarthy School is involved
Yes.
in maybe the other schools could pick up the slack.
Yeah.
And hopefully we could do that. Maybe we could talk to the principal when this is over at the Parker Middle School.
Yeah.
And talk to him and see what he can do.
Yeah.
So after this show, we'll do that.
Sure.
I want to talk about Greater Lowell. Where you said you get the money in, where does it go to?
Yep.
Where in regards
It goes to
out?
Yep. It goes to people in Lowell, Dracut, Chelmsford, Tewksbury, Billerica, Teensboro, Westford, Dunstable. I think Dracut.
Pepperell.
Pepperell might be, but But the great thing about the Salvation Army is that every zip code here is served in the Salvation Army. Those are the communities that we serve directly.
In what way are they served? In other
Sure.
words, do they call you up and say, I'm in need?
Yep. A lot of times that's what happens. Or they come to our office on Appleton Street in Lowell, and they say, I'm in need.
What number Appleton Street?
150.
Okay, can they call you?
They can always call us.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
They can
It's
call
probably
us.
online, so.
Yep, 978-458-3396. But,
978
yep, 458.
458
Yep, 3396.
96. Okay. All right.
But yeah, I mean, people come for various things. So we think of now that it's cold outside. So sometimes, we just did a partnership with Macy's and Coats for Kids. 50 kids were brought down to Macy's, shopped, and got brand new coats.
Oh, wow.
That's a program that Macy's called us up, asked us to do that. We were able to find 50 children from the community, get them new coats. Sometimes they come and they're looking for utility assistance. We think, especially when it's cold now. Sometimes it's coming to have a meal and they need food. We have a food pantry. Food pantry serves, let me just see here. Food pantry serve over 3,000 food pantry grocery orders a year. Over 10,000 people assisted. So they come for various needs. And then we certainly Thanksgiving and Christmas, holiday assistance, that's the toys, the clothing, and those kinds of things. But energy assistance, 82 families were received. Utility assistance, we think of housing assistance, we are able to help.
Is that a one-time thing?
Usually one time per year.
Per year.
Per
Okay,
year, yeah.
It makes sense. How do you know that they're eligible? Or do they have to show you?
We have
some
criteria that's
criteria?
used, probably usually usually it's income, to proof of income, proof of expenses. Usually it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
We help whoever's in need. We don't ask any other questions. Usually it's just prove your need. It's basically
So it's just
what it is.
one time to help them out, to get them over the hump.
Usually
so
to get them in their time of crisis. Sometimes, we've had people come into our office and they had a sudden death of a loved one, and they just need that to get over. Sometimes it's, they just lost their job, they're trying to find another job. And there's other circumstances. Sometimes it's medical bills, and they're trying to choose, do I pay the oil bill, or do I go without food, or whatever. And so if we can step in to help get them over that, them over that hump, then that's
cool.
good.
Let's say they're trying to get to work and you need a repair on your old car. Do you help with that too?
Cars is a little bit more difficult. The funds there for vehicles is a little bit more hard to come by. It's usually utilities, food, housing, the Thanksgiving, Christmas, those kinds of things that we're able to help with.
Right. When you say Christmas, are we talking about Christmas toys for the kids?
Yes, we're talking about toys. We're talking about clothing, and then a food, a meal, a holiday meal, Christmas meal, Thanksgiving meal.
So if people have clothing, and I know there are a lot of people that have clothing that their children outgrew, where should they give it? I know there's sometimes Salvation Army boxes, but they're far and few between.
Yes, and where do you find those? I believe there's one in. The best place to take it is directly to the store, probably in Wilmington. I believe there's one in Wilmington and one. I don't have the whole list in front of me. Wilmington, one in I think in Nashua. There's certainly our base that it's almost like two different departments. So I don't handle that department, but the funds of those that are collected go to run our adult rehabilitation centers, people that are recovering from alcohol and drugs, and so those funds go to that. So Wilmington, I know, is the closest one. We'll take a bag or two because we just don't have the storage, and then the truck will come pick it up.
I see. Can I call the truck to come?
Yes, 1-800-SA-TRUCK. I know the number. It's very easy. You just have to 1-800-SA-TRUCK. So it's 1-800-728-7825.
1-800-728-7825. 7825. I'd rather give my clothes to Salvation Army than just put it in a bin that I don't know where that bin is going to.
So it's going. It goes back to the place in Saugus. I can tell you locally, it goes to Saugus. We're on Route 1. They sort all that, and then those things that can be sold and the family thrift stores are sold. Those funds go to run the adult rehabilitation center.
Okay, that's 1-800-728-7825.
Or 1-800-SA-TRUCK, but those are the numbers that works out.
I think that's important for people because I know people have a lot of clothes from their children getting older and they want to get rid of it.
Right.
And I think that's a great way to do it. All right, let's talk about this. I always am inquisitive in regards to rank, how someone gets rank.
Right,
You told me there was a cadet first when you go to school in Suffolk, New York,
So the general back then, William Booth, kind of set up the Salvation Army in we call it a quasi-military style. And so we have these ranks.
Or paramilitary.
Paramilitary, sure, yes. And so a cadet is someone that's in training, 2 years that you're a cadet. The Salvation Army here in Lowell has had several people come from this area, have gone into the training school, have come out, become cadets, and are somewhere on the East Coast running Salvation Armies. But cadets, and so that's 2 years. Then the next 5 years are a lieutenant, which we have one in Lowell here.
Oh, you do?
A married couple who have been assigned to us as lieutenants got commissioned back in June and appointed to the Lowell area. So they're helping us.
How do they like it?
They like it very well. They're adjusted well. The Lieutenant Paul, he's handling the day-to-day operations of the Red Kettle program, and so his wife is also helping with the Angel Tree, a lot of the Christmas. Right now, we're all hands on deck and into Christmas. But so that's lieutenant's first 5 years. They're kind of doing that, and then captain is from your 5th year or 6th year to your 15th year, and then your 15th year on, you're a major. And anything above major, colonel, which would be colonel, commissioner, or general, is all by promotion. And so the person who runs...
Is there more money by rank?
No, there actually isn't no more money by rank.
Okay.
It's all based on years of service.
Oh, okay.
And then...
you do get paid.
You do get an allowance.
An allowance. I like that term, allowance.
But it's the Army makes sure that you can make by, and they allow us to do the work that we can do every day, and so we're thankful to the Salvation Army for allowing us to do that. But I mean, really, it's we're gearing up to over the 4,000 plus toys that we're going to be collecting to.
Wow.
The 6,000 clothing items that are coming in, the 1,200 or 1,300 food baskets we're preparing for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So it's busy.
You need volunteers, too.
Sure, we always can take volunteers.
And you don't have to be a member of the Salvation Army.
No, you don't. A lot of great people and organizations help the Salvation Army that are not members. I think of the Rotary Club will come out for a day and ring the bell. I think of someone like Warren Shaw, who comes and, he's not a member of the Salvation Army, but he's part of the WCAP and volunteers with us. I think of someone on our advisory board, our board of members, like Tom Bomo from Drake-It, who comes and he'll ring the bell for two hours a day, a couple of days a week.
Right.
So it's, Paul Gleason's another member from Chelmsford, another guy who's really given a lot of his years of service to the Salvation Army, but they're volunteers. And it's really the volunteers that help us do what we can do. We couldn't do without them.
No doubt.
Okay.
The Red Kettle.
Yes, Red Kettle.
I could volunteer. Anybody could volunteer.
Anybody can volunteer. Just call down our office.
1 hour, 2 hours.
1 hour, 2 hours a day. It all helps. And
dress warmly.
Dress warm, especially today. I always tell my kettle workers, bell ringers at the beginning of the season, it's always better to dress in layers, because if it's too hot out, you can take them off.
Right.
But if it's cold out there and you've only got one layer on, well, you're sunk for the rest of the day. So, yeah, especially a day like today, we try to make sure we take care of them and make sure.
Do you have the Red Kettles out?
The Red Kettles started yesterday. We started our campaign 6 weeks from yesterday until December 24th, and market baskets right now. The day after Thanksgiving is when Walmart, our agreement with Walmart begins. And so you'll see them at Walmart after Thanksgiving. But, we couldn't also do it without their generosity of Market Basket and Walmart. So we thank them.
If you have any gold coins, make sure you put it in the Red Kettle.
Get coins, yes. And lately it's been jewelry, too. So,
is that right? So if you have any jewelry you don't want, just
for some
put it in
reason,
the
people
kettle.
have been putting that in as well.
Yeah. Yes. Not your marriage diamond ring, but...
yes.
It's really funny. I mean,
it's
when I hear that, you always hear
some weird tradition that's happened in the last 5 years. I don't know. Someone wanted to be generous and did that 5 years ago. Put in a diamond ring that was auctioned off and made thousands of dollars back for the Salvation Army. And then they actually, made. I think they returned the ring actually to the owner, or somehow that worked out. But anyway, it was a win-win situation for everybody. So.
Well, if you want to volunteer to ring the bell, I mean, Tim said you could volunteer for an hour. Make sure it's an hour, because somebody's going to take your shift, and you want that there. What happens to the Red Kettle at the end of the day? What's the procedure? I know they have a lock on it. I know.
Yeah,
these
they have a
days,
lock
yeah.
on it, and then some our
Because-
staff come and relieve those people and take care of everything, make sure everything's put away and those kinds of
Okay.
things. Yep, our staff will take care of all that. I've been doing this for many years, so it's almost like we got it down to a science almost now. So yeah, but we're grateful for anyone who can give, even if it's just an hour, a couple hours. We think
Right.
of. I think a lot of high school students take up. I think it was Chelmsford take up a whole day.
Wow, that's
and,
nice.
and so it's nice, especially on the weekends.
Yeah.
And
I know they have a volunteer program in Chelmsford High School
Yeah.
where kids could get credit
I think
for
it's National Honor
volunteering.
Society maybe that helped last year. So a lot
okay.
of it's sometimes it's Boy Scouts or scout troops that come down and
Let's not forget Girl Scouts.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. And,
So, I mean, if you have your grandchildren with you and you're going to Market
Yep.
Basket or Walmart, make sure you give them a little money so they could put it into the Red Kettle. That we've been doing that for years.
That's
When
right.
I was a young boy, I remember in New York that I used to put the money in the Red Kettle, and my mother would give me some money to put in the Red Kettle.
lots of kids.
So,
And we always try to get them to ring that bell because it's.
Oh, is
they
that
love,
right?
They love to ring the bell.
Oh,
So
okay.
sometimes
I didn't know that, or else I would have rung the bell when I was
not
younger.
all bell ringers will do that,
Yeah.
but if I'm there, they want to ring the bell, sure. Why
Oh,
not?
okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
next
Now, where are you stationed? Are you going to be out there ringing the bell? or
I'm
you
usually out there here and there. Usually I go out with our brass band on Saturdays, Tewksbury Market Basket there at Stadium Plaza. I'm out and about. Usually I fill in some shifts. Sometimes I'm outside UMass hockey games as well. Just depends on the volunteers, where the open spaces are. We try to fill them in.
Oh, so you're outside the games too?
Yeah, the
bell.
UMass has been generous enough to
that-
allow
that's
us to
really
stand
nice
for an
of them.
hour right before the game. So
And there's a lot of people there. With,
a lot of people coming in and enjoying a great game usually. So
that's
it's
right.
good.
Do you go to the games with your children? Or?
I have not been to a game. It's
okay.
just it's been kind of hard during this time of the season to get to.
Right.
We've gone to Lowell Spinners games, and so that's enjoyed those games.
That's a plus, yeah.
We'll try to get to a hocky game.
Yeah.
If time allows. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, somebody will be watching this, and I hope they compliment you with some tickets for your 4 children and your spouse.
Yeah.
So, so if you want to call and volunteer, it's 978-458-3396.
Correct.
And they'll tell you where you could go and when you could go and
Yep.
how you can do it. All right. So we got the breakfast out of the way. That was a great
right.
event. We got the Red Kettle out of the way.
That's right.
And what else do you want to say before we end the show?
Sure. We're here to lend a helping hand, and sometimes it comes at a minute's notice. One time I was eating dinner when my family sat down. We got a phone call. We actually have a canteen, a mobile canteen, a disaster canteen.
Oh, you do?
Stationed right here in Lowell. So we got the phone call that the houses are on fire in Lawrence, and me and my co-worker here, we have to jump in the canteen, and then next thing you know, you're in Lawrence, helping them during the Merrimack, Valley.
You must have been there for a long time.
We were there. I was there till 1 a.m. in the morning, but
Wow,
we
good
were
for
there.
you.
Our staff, we have
Right.
some staff that came from our regional state office, so there were people there for the whole week helping people get back, and then we were back up there the last day or two that happened this year where the scale came back, but sometimes it is at a moment's notice, and we're grateful to go out and support those victims who need it, and as well as the first responders.
You were in Puerto Rico too. I mean,
We are
you
the Puerto
helped
Rico,
during the
right? Lately, the
hurricane?
Bahamas is still there,
Yeah, the
trying to help the
Bahamas,
people
right.
right now. The devastation.
Right.
So yeah, the great thing about being in 131 countries around the world, we can be there at a moment's notice or short.
Now, do they
within.
take people, let's say, from Massachusetts to send them down to the Bahamas
They
or Puerto
will.
Rico?
They will.
Okay.
Lieutenant Paul, who's in my office last year, went down to Florida during the hurricanes last year. So
Okay.
it's usually a 2-week period. And if that's something that you're really interested in, you can certainly volunteer to learn to be part of the disaster team.
Oh, wow.
And we go to the local fires. The fire chiefs sometimes call us, so we'll go out and serve them. But also,
You serve the firefighters.
so the firefighters as well as victims as well.
Yeah.
And those who if it's from losing the house is on fire here. Here's a blanket to get warm and those kind of things as well.
Tim, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for